Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Showtime's new documentary film, The Corridors of Power, from director Dror Moray, who previously did films like The Human Factor, which I don't think I ever got around to checking that out, but it was something that piqued my interest because global politics and those geopolitical issues are very fascinating, and it is such an interesting dynamic looking at different countries interacting with each other, different cultures, different perspectives. And this particular film takes a look at all the figures that have been behind the scenes working with presidents over the past 30-something years, my lifetime, in terms of how they've been dealing with genocides and outbreaks and revolutions around the world, whether it's from Eastern Europe or Syria or Rwanda, through the George H.W. Bush, Clinton, George W. Bush, Obama administrations, and really taking a deep dive and getting the perspectives of the bureaucrats, the people behind the scenes, including like generals, Colin Powell's in this, getting all these kinds of perspectives on how our involvement around the world has evolved over the course of these couple of decades. And obviously, when it really comes down to it, I feel like this film doesn't take a side too much, except at the very end, there's a very specific quote that they utilize from a pretty famous celebrity that kind of just like hammers home. It's like, yeah, you really need to do something about this. For like the first 2 hours of this film, I think it stays pretty balanced in terms of trying to present what happened before it starts giving you the message of like that we should be getting involved in stopping these atrocities, which that's a whole entire discussion on its own in terms of isolationist and, interventive perspectives on how America should engage with the rest of the world. And you could have your own political perspectives on that and how you think our country should be getting involved around the world. And in general, it's been very inconsistent because you have people that it's like we need to stick to worrying about our own and what's going on in our country, and usually those are more like libertarian to the right, but yet we spend so much on national defense and then go into things like Afghanistan and Iraq and then get ourselves caught up in these things, and then there's people on the left who say we need to do something about all these things but then criticize America for acting like world police. And then it's just like hypocrites all around. And that, I don't think this film dives too deeply into that political arena. It's more about the people behind the scenes who have been doing this and their own worries and their own conscience getting into how they perceive how we should have been interacting and engaging. They spent a decent chunk on Rwanda during the Clinton administration, which might have been caused by the situation that happened in Somalia, which the film Black Hawk Down's based off of, the situation that happened in Rwanda's, what Hotel Rwanda's based off of, and a lot of films being made about all these different tragedies and these genocides going on. And there's a really big chunk of this film that focuses on Syria and Libya towards the end of the film. And I do think, I don't think this film needed to be 2 hours and 15 minutes. I think they could have got to the point. And also, it does get repetitive. I know that's the point, that we never seem to learn our lessons in these situations, and it wants to show this pattern of behavior. But, something in me says, you could have found a more engaging and interesting way to tell this story without feeling repetitive and without it ballooning to 2 hours and 15 minutes. But in general, I do think that this film is most impactful when it's showing some of the footage of these atrocities where we actually feel for these people, because so much of this film is a bunch of people behind the scenes telling us we need to feel and care about these people, but so much of the film is just us talking to them and engaging with them and not the people actually being harmed and killed and devastated by all these atrocities. So as the film went on, and obviously it's more modern and we have more access to this footage, the film started incorporating that, and not gonna lie, grabbed my attention and got me more emotionally invested in this film that keeps you generally an arm's length away. But in general, I do think this is a really impactful and definitely intriguing documentary, and I think it's an important enough documentary it's worth the investment, even though it feels a little over long. But give this one a try. But remember, this is not an easy watch, and this isn't a fun and engaging watch. It's serious, it's impactful, and it's very poignant. But those are my thoughts on The Corridors of Power. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.